What is up, everyone? I hope you all are doing well. My name is Ishaan and welcome to the video. I want to talk about one thing that I kind of have a hard time with. In that journey, one of my goals is also to help other people realize their full potential, the things that they can do, the things that they can achieve if they actually put their mind and discipline to it. But at the same time, I've had trouble with that kind of thing when I'm in my own social circle. I think that's partially because of the fact that a lot of people don't want to hear the advice that you have because it's uncomforting. It puts them in an uncomfortable situation. Naturally, we have a lot of stressors in our lives, like our school co-curriculars, boy, girl, whatever, like significant other troubles you want to call it, family issues. Like, there's so much. Everybody got their own stressors, right? So everybody is going through some shit. We have things to deal with. We have things we want to work through. Now, when more problems arise or more situations arise, and we know that there's two alternative paths, where one is the easy one and one is a difficult one, where the difficult one is actually going to lead to a good destination, whereas the easy one is just going to solve the problem for a very temporary basis, right? When we have that option, we're naturally more inclined to take the easy route out because of the fact that we have all the other stressors that we need to worry about, right? I think that's pretty prevalent in college students, especially because we're also enabling each other. I think not peer pressure, but I think the social circle you hang around with is very important in terms of your mindset, in terms of what you're doing, because when you hang around with people who don't want to do shit, you're going to be the person who also doesn't do shit. Like, it's naturally going to happen with time. If you hang around with people who want to do shit, want to go to the gym, who want to work on shit, like, then you're also going to be the next person to actually be on your shit with the things that you want to do. I've talked about, I guess I haven't talked about it in a video as much, but I'll definitely pin that later for another video in the future. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't. But social circle is so important because it can enable you to achieve your potential, or it can enable you and lead you to almost like your downfall in a way, driving you down into a path of bad habits and bad routines that are not conducive to your goals or to your growth in any sort of way. Now, one thing I have a hard time doing is, again, like, giving advice to people, and it seems weird because, I'm on a YouTube channel, like, I'm recording this video, I'm putting these things out there that I want people to help with. But again, I still have a hard time doing that in my social relationships. Why? Like I said, it's because people don't want to hear what they need to hear. Because I'm someone who tells people what they need to hear. I'm going to give them the uncomfortable option. Like, I'm going to push them. You should take the uncomfortable option. But I don't think that's the most receivable advice in a way for the other person. Or at least that's what I've noticed. That's what I've seen. That's my personal experiences. So I don't know how to quite navigate that situation from time to time, because I feel the urge and I feel the want to actually help people and better their situation. Whatever it is, that's just something I want to do, and that's just something I hope to do. So in terms of helping others, sometimes, like, it's tough because they don't want the help and they don't want the advice. And that's when things get a little bit, like, I'm kind of like, fuck, like, what should I do, So I just remind myself, like, and if you're, in a social circle where you feel like you're the mature one, you're the one usually helping other people out, then perhaps you might resonate with this. And I'm pretty sure the people who don't want to be helped, I've already lost them on this video. Like, they probably clicked off or didn't even click in the first place. So now that it's the real ones here, let's really talk about this. I just remind myself that you can't help anyone that does not want to be helped. I'm going to say that one more time. You can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. Before you go out to give advice or help someone around you, I feel like there's some sort of a check that you need to do in order to make sure that that person actually is willing to take the help that they're going to get. Because you're going to give it your best to help them, right? But if they're not willing to receive it in the best possible way, then you're wasting your energy, and it's not going to yield anything for them either. So I think there needs to be some sort of a check, whether that's, more of like a verbal check-in where you're like, oh, do you want advice, or do you just want me to listen kind of situation. I feel like that's what I've kind of been employing these days. I would say another check is to actually see, like, if you give advice to someone, kind of try to notice it in the next couple of weeks, not just a couple of days or a few days, but notice within the next month, like, what happens with that advice. Like, did they actually take that advice? You got to see for a month or at least a few weeks whether that advice was something that was taken into account, or whether that was something that was pushed to the side. Because that's gonna give you that's gonna let you know, and that lets me know that, okay, like, if I'm putting that much energy into someone and they're not willing to take that advice, or they don't want to take that advice when they know that that's probably the best thing for them, then I think it's time for me to take that step back. Now, of course, not like, this is not to say that you can't give advice at all, or like, you're giving advice and the folks just want to take it because that's not their personal preference, which is completely fine. Like, that's definitely understandable. Not everything you put out there is meant for everyone. Not everything that I say or I believe in is meant for everyone, and I completely understand that. That's when I think it also comes in, that check again comes in, the first verbal check-in, whether the person is actually receptive to the advice. Like, do they even want that advice? Because if they want it, then maybe you can move on to that next check. But if they don't want it in the first place, then I guess we shouldn't be putting our energy there anyways, right? But that's also like this thing where I've had a hard time with, where like I don't know how to help people, or at least, like, I don't know what's the best way to give advice, or what's the best way for the person to actually receive the advice that I'm putting out. Since I've had so much trouble with it, that's partially also why, like, I was like, YouTube might be a good platform, because I can just choose to talk about whatever I want. I can say these things and I can put these out there, and you're gonna be watching. But now it falls on, now my part is done, right? Like, I put out my advice, I put out my experiences, I put out everything that I had to offer, but now it stems on you. Like, what are you gonna do with it, right? Like, if someone's watching the video, they're clicking on the video. Well, currently my subscriber base is primarily like my friends and my family, so I'm like, a lot of people are watching my videos to support me, but at the same time, like, with time, I'm sure there's gonna be viewers that are gonna watch the video. I'm sure you're watching this video still because either you want to support me, or either you're actually interested in the things that I'm talking about. Either of which, I appreciate you so much for even sticking out this far in the video. But like I was saying, after I've put out my experiences, after I've put out this video, and my past videos, my future videos, it falls on you. It falls on the person behind that screen, what to do with this, whether you're gonna listen to it, push it to the side, or whether you're gonna listen to the advice and actually employ it and see if it actually makes any sort of changes or any sorts of results. That's another thing I want to talk about, actually. When I give advice to people, or when I want to give advice to people, and even though they might not want to be like, they might not agree with it, or they might not want to do it, I always try to be like, well, you might as well give it a shot, because what's the worst that can happen, right? You're not going to end up in a worse situation than you are now. It's either whether you remain in the same situation or same state, or you're going to improve a little bit. Which, either way, is that really a bad trade-off for trying out something new? I mean, I don't see it that way, but I'm pretty sure some people are like, oh, but then I just wasted my time or whatever. But I just don't see it that way, I think that's a pretty good trade-off where something's not working, or you arrive, like, you come across a problem, come across a challenge, and you try something, and it doesn't make it better. But now you know that the thing that you tried is not going to make it better. So you move on to another thing. But what if that thing actually makes it better? Now, you wouldn't know that if you hadn't tried it out in the first place. So I do say, like, try it out, because even on the slight chance, like, you get a little bit better, that's a win. That's a whole win. Like, I don't see any... So, like, why not try it? Why not try it? Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. So if you made it this far into the video, I just want to say I appreciate you so much and thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications, because I drop one new video every single week, and I will catch all of y'all in the next video.